Hello and welcome to Module 3. In this module, we'll be talking about the scientific method and some unique challenges of environmental science. It's important that you know the 5 steps of the scientific method. You've seen this a lot in other science classes, so they shouldn't be new to you. The steps are observe and question, so come up with a question, a hypothesis, collect the data, interpret those results, and then if your hypothesis is accepted, then you disseminate those findings. Several times on the AP exam, there's been an FRQ, a formulated response question, asking you to design an experiment that covers all of the steps of the scientific method. Be sure that you start with a question. Students will often skip over the question and go right to the hypothesis. So I'd like for you to look at this experiment. This experiment is talking about organophosphate pesticides and how they might have a detrimental effect on the central nervous system. So read it through and ask yourself, how might this experiment be improved? So anytime you do an experiment, I'd like for you to think about how it might be improved. So in this case, I think there's 10 mice here, or rats, and 10 here. There could have been more rats used in the experiment. We could have run it for a longer time. We could have used different concentrations of the drug and done multiple experimental groups. So those are a few examples of ways it could have been better. I'm sure there's others. The word theory, students often get hung up on this word. A theory is something that has been repeatedly confirmed and is widely accepted. So it doesn't mean that it is untrue. It just means that it has not been confirmed. It's not called fact. Often because it just will not ever be able to be. For example, plate tectonic theory. We weren't around to see those plates move, so we can only call it a theory, but it is widely accepted. Other examples, the cell theory, theory of evolution, the germ theory, atomic theory, Big Bang theory, theory of relativity, etc. All right, moving on, some of the limitations of environmental science. So we're going to go over, there are quite a few really. One of the most significant ones is this example of controlled versus a natural experiment. A controlled experiment is conducted under controlled conditions, such as a laboratory, whereas a natural experiment occurs when a natural event takes place or when natural processes unfold over time. A natural experiment is not controlled and can have many variables acting on it at once. Controlled experiment enables scientists to collect the most reliable data, and a natural experiment allows scientists to study processes that cannot be examined in the lab. So you can see why environmental science would often have a natural experiment, but it's because there are so many variables, it's not controlled and it's not as straightforward. Another reason that is an issue is this lack of baseline data. So since every region of the planet has been affected by human activity, we can't compare an undisturbed area to a disturbed area. There is no control planet in which to compare our Earth with one that has never been disturbed by humans, and we can't fully understand our impact on the planet. So there's no control planet. This gives us a lack of baseline data. Another reason why we have such a problem with baseline data is that environmental systems are very complex. They interact with each other immensely. So each issue is often interacting with others. It's so complex because there's so many interacting parts, and the results of a study of one system can't be applied to a similar system. Also, human behavior can affect natural systems, but can't always be either accounted for or predicted. Also, there's no single measure of environmental quality, so there's often a subjectivity in environmental science. We don't really know what is going to be the best decision for environmental quality. Some things will affect one part of the environment and not the others. We will be looking at this throughout this book. We talked about it already once. The poor are more exposed to pollution and environmental degradation. So we've talked about that already, and we will continue to talk about that. Environmental issues are much more exaggerated in areas of less wealth. All right, did we cover everything in this module? Environmental indicators, sorry, that's the second one. The scientific method and unique challenges of environmental science. We did. So at the end of the chapter, I encourage you to look through this, these learning objectives and a summary for each of the units. It's really helpful. And also to go through the practice exam and make sure that you can answer all of these questions and are ready for the test. Thank you.